My name is Maria, and I'm a dreamer. I dream the sweetest dreams. My favorite involves shopping. In this dream, I buy anything I want without a care in the world. Buy now, pay later, pay whenever, the sweetest of dreams. However, my dreams began to change after a credit card application arrived in my mailbox. I was so excited. I applied, even though as a college student, I didn't have a job or a way to pay bills on my own. But the application was approved. And when my credit card arrived, I knew my dreams had come true.
Credit is a privilege that can make dreams come true. It helps you buy expensive things like homes and automobiles by spreading out payments over time. Without credit, most of us could never experience the American dream of owning a home. Credit cards are a major form of paying for goods and services over time. These days, it's hard to function without them. You need credit cards to make airline or hotel reservations, to rent a car, or even rent a movie. Credit cards offer advantages and disadvantages. The advantage of paying over time comes with a promise to repay. The disadvantage is if you don't pay on time, there will be consequences.
I couldn't believe I had a credit card of my own. I went shopping right away. It was so much fun because I was just thinking about buying, not paying. But then the bills came in, and I had no way to pay them. Every month, more bills showed up. I couldn't believe I spent that much. The payment letters became more and more threatening. And then, credit collectors began calling, and the calls were not friendly. They demanded that I pay what I owed. But I had no job, no money, and no way to pay. I was terrified.
Every time you apply for and use any form of credit, information about you is recorded. This is called your credit history. It's a record of your accounts and payment habits. Credit bureaus collect your payment history information from lenders. Lenders then use the credit bureau's reports to decide if you qualify to pay debts over time. If you've used credit wisely, your credit report can help you realize the American dream. If you haven't paid your bills on time, your credit report may become your worst nightmare.
My credit problems began during my freshman year in college. I couldn't pay the credit card bills, and the calls from creditors continued for a couple of years. Eventually, they stopped. I thought my credit card problems were dead and buried. I graduated and was offered a good job with a good salary. I just knew I was on my way to realizing the American dream. A nice place to live, a car, and all of the other things we expect out of life. I found the perfect car, which I planned to buy with a loan. But when the car dealer checked my credit report, there was a listing of all of the late payments and overdue bills from my early college years. My credit application was denied. The credit card problems I thought were dead and buried came back to haunt me. I began to understand just how important a good credit history is. I couldn't get an apartment, cell phone, or even internet service. My credit history had become a nightmare that was ruining my life.
To avoid your own nightmares, be sure to pay your debts on time and check your credit history regularly to correct any mistakes you may find. There are 3 credit bureaus that sell credit reports to lenders. By law, every year you can get 1 free copy of your credit report from each of these credit bureaus. There are 3 ways to get your free credit report. On the Internet, request a copy by visiting www.annualcreditreport.com. You can also call Annual Credit Report at 877-322-8228. Do not call the individual credit bureaus directly, or you may have to pay a fee. If you prefer mail, send a letter to the Annual Credit Report office. Be sure to avoid credit report websites that charge fees and ask you to provide personal information. These sites will often make inquiries on your credit report and try to sell you loans at high percentage rates. AnnualCreditReport.com is the service to use for free credit reports, but there will be a charge for obtaining your credit score. When you receive your credit report, check it carefully. Identity theft is big business these days, so make sure the credit report has no errors or no new accounts that you do not know about. If you find an error, file a dispute form with the credit bureau to have it corrected. Never pay a company to correct errors in a credit report. No one can get the credit bureau to remove information that's current and correct. If it's incorrect, you can have it removed for free by filing a dispute form. Don't pay someone to do what you can do yourself for free. Information stays in your credit report for 7 years. However, creditors are most interested in what has happened in the past 2 years.
With my bad credit report, my only choice was to start over and try to reestablish a good credit history. I had a good job, and I knew steady employment would be an important part of my credit report, so that was step 1. Next, I opened a savings account at a local bank. I saved enough money to use as collateral for a small personal loan. Using the money as collateral meant that I agreed to leave my savings in the bank as security until the loan was paid off. I made sure that I paid every payment in full and on time. Good payment habits would help me establish a good credit history. After many months of regular payments, I applied for and received credit from a local lender that I knew in my town. Later, I also applied for and received a secured credit card. The secured credit card used my money as collateral while I used the credit card to develop my credit history. I made sure I paid my debts on time. One of my proudest moments came 2 years later when I visited a car dealership and applied for a loan. This time my credit history showed 2 years of paying all of my bills on time, and I was approved for a car loan. I was so happy. My dreams were beginning to come true.
Maria's plan for rebuilding her credit history was successful, but if she had always used credit wisely, rebuilding wouldn't have been necessary. Remember, credit is a privilege that can make dreams come true, but if it's abused, it can become a nightmare. The keys to establishing good credit are: pay your bills on time, keep your credit balances low, avoid applying for new credit too often, charge only what you can pay for, and be sure to check your credit report annually. Remember Maria's story. Avoid the nightmares of credit abuse. Use credit wisely, and like Maria, you'll be dreaming sweet dreams.